So we have Sadruddin Jumani asking, keeping in view the reputation of Sindh Building Control Authority, do you think a builder will be able to get his drawings approved in time? And if not, then the date of September 2022 is a bit unrealistic.
Can you unmute Sadruddin Saab, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
So Sadruddin, you are being unmuted. Please converse.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Sadruddin Saab. How are you today?
I'm doing, mashallah, very good. How about you?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you. Are you enjoying the session today?
Excellent, sir. Excellent.
Thank you.
You are great, sir.
Sir, you are very kind. I'm humbled. Would you like to briefly introduce yourself before we discuss your question?
Yes, my name is Sadruddin Jumani. I work for a oil and gas company in Pakistan, in Karachi. And just, being a local Karachiite, I know how things work, and the reputation of different officials working in the Sindh Building Control Authority. So I was thinking, it's really good that the federal government has issued this ordinance, but when it comes to the provincial department getting approval, and we are all aware, what kind of practices are followed there. So it will be an issue for a builder to get his master plan and all other drawings approved in a civilized manner.
Sadruddin Saab, it's a very, very, very good question that you have asked. And in fact, from your question, it appeared to me that you are either builder or developer or involved with the construction.
Yes, I think I am. I work in a company, but at the same time, I'm a sleeping partner in a joint venture, informal joint venture with friends who build bungalows and then we sell it.
Mashallah. So see, I could guess your profession from your question rightly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. Sadruddin Sab, I have briefly discussed this, but I'll elaborate this for you because it's a very good question. Yes, these are practical issues. We know they are capacity issues. There are also other unfortunate and unethical dealings in at least some of the officers in various bodies, as you have mentioned. That is the reason that the time, two things have been done. Firstly, the time is given till December. That you have to register yourself, and the project completion date is given for September 22. So your question about the approval, the relevant time for that question is not 30th September 2022. It is 31st December 2020. That is the date by which the plan, the maps have to be approved. Now, coming on to your question, firstly, why did the government do that? The reason being, this is the time when the government want the builders and developers to spur into action, because this is the time, even ethically and morally, we shouldn't sit on the money, we should put that into work. Plus, this is the time when they want the jobs to be created, the economic activity to happen. Make sense? Now,
yes.
Now to the actual core of your question. They have tried to build couple of things within the legislation to address this. Number one, they have given the time till end of December. That is almost 8 months plus to get the approval. So how long can the authority delay? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? But we know when some unscrupulous things happen, it can be much more. So if such a scenario happen, they have also added the provision that if you did all the things, you filed everything as was required, you have followed all the legal requirement, and you filed that at the maximum by 1st of December, so 30 days before the cutoff time, and the authority did not approve it within 30 days, then the FBR would still allow you a provisional registration. Okay, So they have tried to cover that thing within the ambit. However, we are aware that post 18 amendments, the provinces have gotten a lot of autonomy and many rights, and the federation can't really interfere or force them to make certain legislation. So it would be up to the provinces, and we do hope that the provinces will also legislate and introduce controls to improve their relevant authorities, because then the businesses will be facilitated more. As we know, the better the business ecosystem, the better the results would be. I hope that answers your question, Satruddin Saab.
Absolutely, sir. You're very thorough. Thank you.
You are most welcome. Can you mute Nizam and move on to the next question, please? So while we are getting Nizam back, I'll be continuing on with the questions. Next one is by Mr. Hamidur Rahman. Sir, why is the time horizon only 2.5 years? I mean, the project in construction industry would usually take more than 2 years. Would you address this? Hamid, I have already answered this, but nevertheless, I would answer this again for you and for the benefit of all our attendees. Basically, the project is considered an approved project once the maps or development plans are approved. What is there to motivate a builder and developer to actually go into construction? Because the government really want the construction activity to kick in, remember, so that jobs can be created, so that the ancillary industries would get the demand and their industries would start rolling in, so that the plant and machinery might be imported and build the capacity, national capacity of the construction sector. So what would there be to motivate them? This is there to motivate them by giving them 2.5 years to complete the construction project. Now, if I'm a builder and developer and I know I'm starting a project and I need to complete that within 2.5 years, I would go into action quickly. And let me tell you, not all projects take 2.5 years. Yes, many mega projects where you are building entire cities, etc., might take that much time. But what is required here for builders, the completion of the gray structure, and for developer, completion of the main roads up to a certain standards, the basic layout thing that is being done, etc., and booking of 50% plots and getting payments of 40% amount thereof. One should be able to do that in 2.5 years. And this is basically done to keep a check on builders and developers to actually carry out the construction activity, rather than just register their project and sit back and enjoy all the benefits and amnesty. Hope that answers your question. And Saduddin Jumani mentioned WTI traded in negative yesterday, just for your information. Yes, Saduddin Saab, I'll be releasing a short video clip on that too. But I've been getting a lot of questions and I think we have some time. So let me quickly tell you, there is a lot of misconception about WTI. WTI is the West Texas basket. Basically, these require physical settlement. And this happened in the futures market, which were being settled. So what happened was, these futures contracts that were being settled, the people who bought these contracts either didn't plan to take the physical custody, they just planned to roll them over. But because of the current scenario, not many people are willing to take a physical capacity rollover, or they simply did not envision the, as most of us, circumstances, and did, or either were new players and did not adequately plan or are not able to get adequate storage units. So now what happens? Nobody is willing to take the physical delivery of WTI. Okay, so this actually crashed and traded in negative, that you actually have to pay people to get it off your hand. It is a common phenomena in Europe, etc., that when many of the stores, etc., are clearing out, they offer crash sales, and if that doesn't work, at times they pay people to take that stuff, because the storage is so expensive there. So the same concept somewhat came in here. On the other hand, if you look at the other oil contracts, the normal one, even the future contracts that are settled in cash, they have not crashed. They are trading between $18 to $26. And by the way, Pakistan does not deal in WTI basket. We mostly buy our oil from the Gulf states, etc. And we haven't been trading much, to my knowledge, in the WTI physical delivery futures. So unfortunately, it's not gonna benefit us. Just for information, because this was so relevant and so happening a topic, I just gave a quick update to all our attendees. I hope that gives you a fair idea of what actually happened with the petrol markets. Next one, want amnesty schemes encourage money washing? Would the scale of balance of benefits from this window of opportunity outweigh the efforts the PM was making a priority of? A very, very good question, and one that I think we should hold on to Munib Afan Shafi Saab till I cover the amnesty, which I'm about to do in the next session. So let me see if we have another relevant question, then I'll go back and finish off the session and take the Q&A. Can we say that the impact of this is dependent on the investors or developers? Ahmed Wakri, I've already answered this question. Rabia Shams asked, my question is regarding the overall income tax implications in service-based industry operated in Pakistan, and it's not related to the topic discussed in this webinar. Can I contact you after the webinar for discussion in this regard? Sure, Rabia, you can. I always share my contact details at the end of the webinar. The best way to reach me is through LinkedIn to coordinate a time, even if you want to speak, or otherwise send in your query. I'll also be sharing other details, but the really fast way is LinkedIn. That's what I'll recommend. And you are all welcome. It doesn't mean if the session ends, I'm never going to be answering you. You would still be able to contact me, and it would be my pleasure to guide you all. Saduddin Jamani Saab is saying, in my view, fixed rates in square feet will be charged by builders and developers to buyers. They will stay tax-free as they will gross up the price to include taxes. Well, we know the business practices that happens. The cost is normally passed on. But even the benefit otherwise of a fixed rate tax, it removes the ambiguity. And it also removes the question of audit. It removes, excuse me, it removes the fear factor that normally the construction industry have. So that would actually encourage builders and developers to take part in the construction sector. Rizwan Hassan Khwaja asked, correct me if I'm wrong, so if a builder constructs a 2-floor building on a 120 square yard feet, the total income tax liability would be this much without respect to the amount of profit he or she makes. So the crux of Rizwan's question is whether it would be a fixed rate of income tax without any regard to the profit. The answer is yes. Rizwan Hassan is saying, I'm not in construction. Okay, I think we have taken sufficient questions. We'll come back to the other questions. We know there's a lot of interest, so you'll be able to ask me the question in the next Q&A stage. I think we have about 35-40 minutes left. So let's finish off the amnesty, and we'll try to even finish off the other section if needed, and then go into the Q&A session. So one of the major incentive that has been a demand of the construction industry as well as the property dealing industry as well has been the amnesty or exemption from Section 111. Let's find out what does this amnesty entails. So the provisions of Section 111 shall not apply to capital investment made in a new project under clause A of subsection 1 in the form of money or land, subject to the following condition. If the investment is made by a builder or developer being an individual. Now remember, a builder and developer can be individual, AOP or company, and all these scenarios are covered. So first things first, if the builder or developer is an individual and they make the investment in the form of money, such a builder or developer would be required to open a new bank account and deposit such amount in that account on or before 31st day of December 2020. However, if they make the investment in the form of land, such builder and developer shall have the ownership title of the land at the time of the commencement of the ordinance, that is 17 April 2020, and the money or land invested shall be wholly utilized in the project duly registered and commenced by 31st December 2020. So if they do this, then any money or land they are investing in the project would be exempted from the section 111 of the income tax ordinance. If the investment is made by a person in a project by way of a company or AOP, then the first requirement would be that such company or AOP should have been in existence as a single object company, builder or developer company, or AOP registered under the relevant legislation, be it the Companies Act 2017 or the Partnership Act 1932, after the date of announcement of the Tax Laws Amendment Ordinance 2020 and on or before the 31st day of 2020. So such company or AOP should be a single object company that should have been in existence or should be in existence on or before 31st day of 2020. So the window you have to incorporate this company or AOP that should be a single object company is after the date of commencement 17 April 2020 till 31st December 2020. The second requirement is that the person shall be a member or shareholder himself of the AOP or the company, as the case may be. And if the capital investment is made in the form of money, logically speaking, same as in the case of individual, in the case of AOP or company, such money shall be invested through a cross-banking instrument but deposited in the bank account of the AOP or company on or before 31st December 2020. And if the investment is made in the form of land, such land should be transferred to that AOP or company on or before 31st December 2020. And obviously, if a person is transferring the land, they shall have the ownership title of the land, and that ownership title should be with them at the time of the commencement of the ordinance. So the money or land invested shall also be wholly utilized in the project. So they can't do that, put some money in, then later on take this out and say, oh, we have an amnesty. No, the money that you are investing has the amnesty, and that money should be wholly utilized in the project. Same should be the case with the land. So the project that these money would be invested in would also need the completion certificate. Remember, these projects would need to be completed by 30th September 2022. So that would be giving a life of a time period of 2.5 or maximum 3 years in case of existing projects. Project need to be completed by 30th September 2022, which is also the relevant date applicable in the case of the certifications below. For builders, the maps would need to be approved. The maps would need to be certified. The map approving or authority or NESPAC shall certify the completion of gray structure as per the approved map by 30th September 2022. For developers, the map approving authority or NESPAC shall certify completion of the landscaping and at least 50% of the roads up to subgrade level. The two requirements for the developers. The other two would need to be certified by an ICAP QCR satisfactory rated firm duly notified by FPR. So not all those firms can do. Only those firms that satisfy this requirement and are notified by FPR would then certify that at least 50% booking of the plots and 40% of the sales proceeds have been received. This certification would be required for the relevant projects to avail the amnesty. The amnesty does not end with the builders and developers. Obviously, if there are no purchasers, no buyers, there would be no amnesties. So the purchasers are also given relief. They are also incentivized. We have also mentioned about the tax reliefs for the buyers before. We have spoken about the capital gains tax exemption. Now we are talking about exemption from section 111, the practical amnesty from the fearful unexplained income or assets. The provisions of section 111 shall also not apply to the first purchaser of a building or a unit of building purchased from builder. A builder is the registered builder with FPR in this case, in respect of the purchase price of the building or the unit of building. So the amount they have paid to buy the building or unit of building exempt from section 111 of income tax ordinance, but subject to the following conditions. Number one, the full payment should be made through a cross banking instrument to the builder during the period starting from the date of registration of the project of builder with the board. So it can be any date between 17 April 2020 to 31st December 2020 and ending on 30th day of September 2020. So between these dates, the payment can be made. So payment can be made from 17th April 2020. If the project is registered on that date, I would doubt that. Normally it would take some days, some time period. So whenever the project is registered from that date until the date of completion of the project as envisioned in the ordinance, which is 30th September 2020, a purchaser can buy the building or the unit, and the amount that they are paying would be through a cross banking instrument, and that full amount would entail amnesty from section 111. And the full or balance amount of payment is made through a banking instrument during a period starting from the date of registration of the project with the board under this section and ending on 30th September 2020, 2022 in case of purchase is from an existing incomplete project. So if you made the purchase from a new project, then definitely that would be the date of registration till 30th September 2022. What if you made purchase from an existing project that started before the ordinance was promulgated? Yes, you would still be able to avail this, but the payment, the purchase, the full or balance amount of the payment should be through a cross banking instrument, and that full or balance payment should be during the period starting from the date of registration of the project with the board under this section and ending on 30th September 2022. This is very, very important. Okay, so we have spoken about the purchaser of building or unit. What about the purchasers of plot? Will they be able to avail the amnesty too? A big question, especially for the developers and the property dealers. Well, the good news is, with some conditions, yes, they can. The purchaser of a plot who intends to construct a building thereon would be able to avail the amnesty if the purchase is made on or before 31st of December 2020, this year, so that then they can start the construction within the due time period. The full payment is made on or before 31st of December 2022 through a cross banking instrument. These are good requirements going towards the documentation, encouraging the documentation. Construction on such projects should be commenced on or before 31st December 2020, and such construction as is the requirement for builders and developers for completion of their project should be completed on or before 30th September 2022. And this person should register himself with the board on the online IRIS web portal. Now, so far so good, but some of you would be thinking and asking the question, and Nizam, pay attention because I'm answering this question and you should be able to skip this question now during the Q&A break. What about the people involved in the crime proceed? What about the money laundering and terror financing and the FATF implications? Well, the law has made exclusions. Any holder of public office, as defined in the Voluntary Declaration of Domestic Assets Act 2018, or his Benamidars, as defined in the Benami Transaction Prohibition Act 2017, or his spouse or dependents, would not be able to avail this amnesty. So holders of public office are defined in detail in the Voluntary Declaration of Domestic Assets Act 2018, and this has been shared in the handouts with you, and this is pretty detailed. So I'm just quickly showing you. Due to time limitation, I won't be going through it. You can see government official, head of states, PM, Senate members, MPAs, MNAs, CMs, public office holders, bureaucrats, judiciary, etc. They are even local government officials. They are all excluded from the ambit of this. Secondly, a public listed company would not be able to avail the amnesty. So a builder and developer can be a private limited company, not a public company. If the public funds are involved, you can't avail this amnesty. A real estate investment trust or a company whose income is exempt under any other provision of the ordinance would not be able to avail this amnesty. And any proceeds derived from the commission of a criminal offense, including the crimes of money laundering, extortion, or terror financing, would not be able to avail this amnesty. Flat, straight off, addressing the concerns of FATF2. However, an important exclusion: any offenses under this ordinance, the tax ordinance, are excluded. Mean if somebody did not do money laundering, extortion, or terror finances, but otherwise didn't declare, did misdeclaration, or did not probably pay their entire tax liability, they can avail that amnesty. So it's a considered pro and con. While money laundering, extortion, terror financing are excluded, any tax misdeed, which is the right of the national government, is being forgiven in the hopes of reviving the economy by way of the construction sector. This brings us to the miscellaneous requirements and conditions, and we are nearing the end of the session. So let's just finish this, and I'll take your question and answers in one go at the end. So some other miscellaneous requirements and conditions are that naturally, when you are giving so many incentives, you are giving fixed tax rates, you are giving amnesty, you are giving industry status, and the benefits that apply, especially for the import of plant and machinery, and you are also given relief in terms of capital gain tax. You are giving relief to buyers, first-time buyers, to builders, developers, etc. Then naturally, no tax credit will be allowed. However, any tax under section 236K, you do remember what is 236K, don't you? 236K deals with the advance tax on purchase of property. Any that tax which is paid, the tax credit for that would be allowed. Other than that, no tax credit would be allowed, and no refund adjustment for previous years against the tax liability under this ordinance would be available. Annual tax liability would be computed by using the formula shown on your screen. Tax liability as per the rates mentioned in Rule 10 divided by the estimated project life in years. The estimated project life for tax years will not exceed 2.5 years for new projects. For existing projects from tax year 2020 through to tax year 2022, the taxpayer would need to reduce by the percentage of completion up to the last day of the accounting period pertaining to tax year 2019 as declared in registration form. This is very logical. Any part of the project that was completed till the last tax year 2019 would need to be taken out, because that would not fall within the scope of this ordinance. And the tax liability of tax year 2020 would need to be paid along with the tax return for this year. The tax computed above shall be paid in advance in 4 equal installments on quarterly basis in the manner laid out in section 147 of the Income Tax Ordinance 2001. The builders and developers and first-time buyers, as we have discussed in this presentation and today's session, would be able to get their project registered under this scheme voluntarily. So they can choose to avail this scheme.